All right, everybody, welcome to the True Crime News. I'm Morgan Rector.
And I am Rachel Talfor.
All right, and how about a nice cheerful start to today's episode with a New Zealand man who pled guilty to production of child pornography.
Thanks, Morgan. Oh, you're so uplifting. I love it.
Yeah, in case you're not cynical enough about the world.
I just got back from vacation. I really need a good child pornography story. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, this story was brought to you. This was a press release from the FBI.
Oh, good ones.
So, yeah, it says Richmond, Virginia, a New Zealand man pleaded guilty today to production of child pornography. According to court documents between February and March 2018, Troy George Skinner, 28, interacted with a minor child online and used the child to produce numerous videos and image files of child pornography. Although said a Raj Parekh, acting U.S. attorney for this Eastern District of Virginia, although no prosecution can undo the irreparable damage the defendant caused, we hope it is some measure of relief to the victim, the victim's family, and the community that the defendant now faces lengthy and significant consequences for this heinous conduct when he is sentenced by the court. We will continue to hold accountable those who exploit and prey upon vulnerable members of our community. The FBI will aggressively investigate any matter where persons prey on our children and work with our partners to hold these predators accountable with the goal of removing them from our community. Mr. Skinner's solicitation of this minor victim is unfortunately not uncommon for sexual predators. What is rather unusual is for a predator to travel this extensively to gain access to their victim. Had it not been for the intervention of an adult, this incident could have been much worse. We encourage anyone who may have fallen victim to a similar situation of sharing images or videos to report it to law enforcement as soon as possible so we can help in the trauma. According to the statement of facts filed with a plea agreement on June 20th, 2018, Skinner departed from Auckland, New Zealand, en route to Virginia. On June 22nd, 2018, Skinner traveled to the victim's home in Goochland, the location of which he learned in his online conversations with the minor victim. Upon arriving at the victim's home in Goochland, what a name, I would almost expect something untoward to happen in a town named Goochland, but anyway.
So, the Virginia, so is it Virginia in New Zealand?
The guy, so he met the kid online, and the kid lives in Goochland, Virginia. And so this guy came all the way from New Zealand. I don't even know how long that takes.
Wow.
That's a long ways because, I mean,
you couldn't find anywhere closer to get
yeah.
Not saying that you should be a child predator at all, but for fuck's sake.
The closest state, I guess, to New Zealand would be California, right? So he had to come from not just all the way from New Zealand, but all the way across the United States. That's a day or two of travel.
You're not kidding.
Yeah. So yeah, what was I going to say? Okay, so according to additional court filings submitted by the government, a search at the scene of Skinner's belongings revealed duct tape, pepper spray, and a folding pocket knife. Officials also seized 2 mobile phones from Skinner, which investigators later determined contained images of child pornography depicting the minor victim. U.S. authorities also made a mutual legal assistance request to officials with the government of New Zealand. New Zealand investigators executed a search warrant on the defendant's apartment in New Zealand and conducted a forensic examination of the defendant's laptop and later provided to U.S. investigators a thumb drive containing 120 video and 56 image files depicting that one kid.
Just the one child?
Yep. Skinner.
So because he was, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but because it was here, then the FBI has rights to go. Yeah. I'm sure they worked with New Zealand official. That's so stupid. I don't even know how that works, but.
When it comes to something like drugs, I don't know if that kind of cooperation tends to happen.
Yeah.
Crime like this, they'll knock down doors, they'll
absolutely
blast mountains out of their way.
Good.
Skinner pleaded guilty to production of child pornography and is scheduled to be sentenced on February 11th, 2022. He faces a mandatory minimum term of 15 years and a maximum term of 30 years in prison.
Wow.
So,
how old was the child? Did it say or no?
Let me see. The child was, well, there's still a minor. Trying to see what.
I think, was it male or female?
I don't think
it said. Did it? Maybe just to protect the minor.
Yeah, they don't even want to release the gender.
That's okay. So, I'm okay with that. But my God, like that, and thank God for somebody finding out.
You know, it sure takes a lot of balls to do that. Like in a country like America, like in places like India and Thailand, they have child sex tourism, and unfortunately, a lot of people get away with it there. But in the United States, I mean, that's
you're in another country trying exploiting a young child in the United States for just the one. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a video the other day just of this mother just locked her child in her car while she went shopping, and people went ballistic over that. Police and ambulance and firefighters smashed the window because the kid was inside sweating and crying, and it was summer.
One of my stories is actually going to be related to that today.
Oh, wow, I wonder if it's the same one.
It's not. No, it's not. It's different.
Well, by any chance, is the mother Hispanic or something?
No, but I do. My first, I do have a Hispanic mother, but it was not from her leaving her.
Well, by the way, that's always a coincidence. Yes, we have mentioned a lot of Latino offenders, but I'm not going out of my way to find them. We're not suggesting anything, but they do pop up quite a bit. So yes. What's your first story?
Before I go into our first story, can we please just mention your last episode?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was good.
Because holy shit. I listened to your episodes, okay? I was cleaning my house while listening to this one. I think I texted you while I was cooking dinner. And I was so I was speaking out loud. I was talking out loud to myself, to you on the podcast, how absolutely revolted I was over this man. I don't know how I've never heard of him, but that is a special kind of fucking evil. And his death, wasn't it death by hanging?
He did hang. Yeah, and a hanging had not been done in that state, I think, for decades. So
I found that but you know what? That's not even good enough. He should have been tortured. I wish I could have had 5 minutes alone in a room with that person. I don't even want to. That was harsh.
Did you look up the photo of trying to remember the kid's name? Lee Isley. I think that's how you pronounce it. Did you look up a photo of him?
No, I didn't. Hang on, let me look it up.
But he is this adorable, innocent looking little boy, and which even makes it worse to look at him and think of the things that went down. And most
really sweet little one, like the last one he's
got blonde hair and like just looks just
What was that damn murderer's name? I want to forget it because I don't remember.
Wesley Allen Dodd.
Dodd, okay, yes. God, I hate him. I fucking hate him.
Yeah, some listeners said in the YouTube comments that they couldn't finish it. They just couldn't.
It was hard. It was very hard. That was one of the hardest ones I've listened to. That was.
Well, most pedophiles are just evil. They're sociopaths. But I would venture in his case, maybe there was mental illness involved in that because he really did seem deranged, right?
Oh, look at this baby. Oh, no.
Yeah, I told you, right? Little boy, and God.
Oh, my God. I hate this guy so much. I hate him. I hate him. Wow. Yeah. So thanks for that. Yeah. Lee Joseph Isley. That's what was his name. Little poor. Oh, look at that little face. Oh, I can't.
I stopped warning listeners about this show a long time ago, but maybe I should issue a fair warning now if you haven't listened to that episode yet. It's a doozy.
It's hard. It's hard. It was rough for me. you just, whew, that's all I can say. Warning, fair warning. If you're a kid, if you have kids or don't like that kind of kid torture, it's beyond what you've heard.
Yeah, like as the mother of 2 boys, that must have been especially difficult for you to listen to, right?
Yeah, what did I text you? I'm like, I said something like, I want to kill this motherfucker right now. I couldn't stand it.
Oh, yeah. And he looked as evil as he was, too. He actually looked like the Antichrist.
He's got the porn stash going on.
Yeah, porn stash, which adds a whole other dimension of evil to it.
Like the evil eye. He's got evil slanty eyes.
Oh, yeah.
He just looks, oh, God, I hope there's a hell just for him to personally rot in. Anyway, back to some fun news. Just kidding. We are going to go to St. Paul, Minnesota. This is a Minnesota woman charged after missing ex-husband found buried in backyard.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. A Minnesota woman was arrested for murder after her missing ex-husband's body was found buried in the backyard of their shared house. On Sunday, July 22nd, an identified party called 911 to request a welfare check at Cao Yang's residence on Kennard Street after not seeing Yang, age 50, for weeks. The St. Paul Pioneer. What was that?
Was this near St. Olaf by any chance?
I don't know where the hell. St. Paul, St. Olaf, you never know.
Yeah.
I love you for that. Yang's ex-wife, 40-year-old Karina He, told St. Paul officers Yang left the house on June 30th and had not been reachable since. She said the couple was divorced, but they were still living together, the Pioneer Press reports. Also, on July 22nd, Karina He's 17-year-old daughter called 911 to report she hadn't seen or heard from Yang, her stepfather, for several weeks. The 17-year-old said, quote, she believed her mother may have killed Yang, the Pioneer Press reports. Police said a neighbor told officers a bad smell had been coming from the garden in the backyard of Yang and He's house in the beginning of July. The 17-year-old told police she noticed a fresh hole in the backyard, and since days later, Karina He put bricks and concrete over the hole, then put a shed on top. Suspicious as fuck. Quote, when asked about something that smelled really bad in her backyard around the week of July 5th, 2021, He said there was a lot of pigeon poop from a coop they had, end quote, according to the complaint cited by the Pioneer Press. Okay, yeah, no, pigeon poop doesn't smell like decomposing bodies.
As far as I know, it just turns hard and white, and there's no stench. Yeah.
Correct. Cao Yang's body was found on Saturday, July 31st, when a Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension crime scene team excavated an area beneath a shed in the backyard. He had been shot twice in the back of the head. Investigators found blood on the walls, which had been painted over. Inside the house, WCCO TV reported. St. Paul police arrested Karina C. He on suspicion of murder Saturday. He was charged with second-degree murder and was held in the Ramsey County Jail. So that just happened. If you're going to kill your husband, you're not going to be able to hide the body in your backyard, especially when you have a teenager.
Body disposal is an art, and you really have to plan for it. And you got to really be smart about it.
If we've learned nothing else from this pod.
From Jeffrey Dahmer, I mean, storing. Well, yes, he did have a special attachment to all those bodies, but
yes.
But if you want to just get rid of the evidence, you don't keep it at home. You fucking bury it somewhere or
throw it down to the Everglades.
That's right, yeah. Or leave it out in the middle of the woods, and like wild animals will tear at it. And
not bury it in the garden in your backyard.
No, definitely not.
What you got for me next?
So this one starts with a quote. I will show you what I do to serial killers. Costumed vigilante vows to hunt murder. This is a really interesting story. This guy's he's being like a real life Batman, and I saw a picture of him. He's got his own superhero costume. It's all and he's got a mask on, and like he said, so this is a threat to you. When I find you, I will show you what I do to serial killers. A masked man who calls himself Shadow Vision warned a suspected serial killer in Little Rock, Arkansas. I am hunting you right now. I swear to God, this guy, if they make a movie about him, he's already figured out how to make this cool. His costume looks really nifty and everything.
Really, I'm looking at him right now. Yeah. Oh, he looks like a badass.
He does.
How the hell did he make this costume? What is this?
Apparently, yeah. A self-professed superhero calls himself Shadow Vision, has been patrolling the capital of Arkansas, vowing to hunt down an apparent serial killer in the area. On Thursday, he told a follower on his Facebook page that he was in Little Rock this week, quote, hunting the serial killer. I know that the serial stabber is keeping an eye on my page here, and so this is a threat to you. When I find you, I will show you what I do to serial killers. I am hunting you right now. There have been 4 knife attacks, 3 of which were fatal in Little Rock since August 2020, and investigators believe they are connected, according to the Arkansas Times. The victims of the stabbings appear to be chosen at random. The attacks have been brutal. Surviving victim Deborah Walker, 43, was stabbed 15 times.
Jesus.
Larry McChristian, 64, Jeff Welch, 62, and an unidentified man known as Old School did not survive the attacks. Shadow Vision, whose real identity remains a mystery, is vowing to end that reign of terror. I am a Shadow Vision, a real-life superhero. I protect the innocent at whatever cost. I would sacrifice my own life to save an innocent life. The supposed vigilante claims to have exterminated 2 other serial killers years ago, according to the Arkansas Times, though that information has not been verified. He told Oxygen.com via email on Friday that one of the exterminated killers was in North Carolina while the other was in Arkansas back in the 90s. And also, I love hunting high-ranking gang members, he said. He told Oxygen.com that he is originally from Belfast. The reason yeah, right.
Love it.
The reason I showed up in Little Rock Ark years ago is because the city needed help. The other reason that I have also revealed myself to Arkansas and the world 11 months ago is that I got tired of turning on the TV and all I hear is people losing hope. So I wanted to show them that they got someone fighting for them out there. Give the people hope again. The vigilante typically wears a steel helmet, bulletproof vest, back plates, shoulder pads, fanged arm cuffs, handcuffs, 2 steel, I don't know how you pronounce this, sais, strapped to his thighs. Sais is spelled S-A-I-S, and 2 katanas. I think those are swords.
Yeah.
He dresses in all black, and when asked on his Facebook page, he said it takes him about 20 minutes to get all suited up. Shadow Vision told Oxygen.com that he feels he is getting close to catching the serial killer. In fact, he claims he already has his name. I am coming for you, he said when asked if he'd like to deliver a message to the killer. I also want a one-on-one fight with you. He's been attracting more attention recently after a popular TikTok video was posted about him last week. I can't deal with this. I can't with this stupid city, the TikToker wrote, stating that first her city has a serial killer and now a superhero to protect them. She included footage of the vigilante strolling the streets. So I'm going to visit this guy's Facebook page.
Yeah, you guys go look him up. I should post it on my Instagram.
Shadow Vision, yeah, that's really interesting.
Shadow Vision. He looks, and there's like a picture of him with a cop, like standing with a cop. So, hey, I'm all about that.
Yeah. He actually looks a lot. I don't know if. I guess probably you wouldn't have been into G.I. Joe toys in the 80s.
No, I know G.I. Joe.
Do you remember Snake Eyes?
Yeah.
So he kind of it's a little bit reminiscent of that visually, like just the black costume and the helmet kind of. He looks kind of reminiscent of Snake Eyes. Yeah.
I'm gonna post a picture of him on my Instagram. If anybody wants to follow me, not that you give a shit, but I post a lot of random stuff. But Artel4. I'm going to post a picture with a link to our podcast, of course. That's awesome.
Did you see the G.I. Joe movie by any chance?
No.
I didn't either. It just looked like they didn't even get it. Like
somebody who had never watched G.I. Joe in their life.
Yeah, like it just looked like a generic action movie. Like they didn't really get all the diverse characters and personalities that factor into it. Which is what they did with the Transformers. I was really disappointed in that because the TV series was not about the humans. It was not about Megan Fox. It was about.
I hated. If I get hate mail, I don't give a shit. I hated those movies. There was no substance to them whatsoever, and I dislike Megan Fox.
And how can Optimus Prime only appear like halfway through the movie?
Like, come on, dude, do better.
That's blasphemy. Did your son like it?
They haven't They haven't even watched it. I wouldn't even let them watch that crap. They watched the Neverending Story. Oh. What is it? I did the Dark Crystal, the Neverending Story, and then I made the mistake of letting them watch Gremlins, which I thought was because I watched it as a youth. Yeah, that's not a kids movie.
I remember being disturbed by it, but I still liked it. So,
yeah, I did too. Oh my god.
Well, do they like Star Wars?
They're not huge fans, but their father is like huge fan. But they're not. Yeah, they're not really into. Kids don't watch a lot of movies nowadays. They're into their YouTube channels and stuff like that.
When was the oldest born? What year?
2011.
Oh, okay. So he would have missed the Transformers movies anyway. So.
Yep. Thank God. This is a good miss. Because I couldn't even get past the one. Blah.
Okay, so what was your next story?
My next story, I for some reason, I swear to God, I don't do this on purpose, but there's a lot of bad mom stories, but I do have a good mom story to later on, so don't hate me for this. But a Tulsa mother arrested after 12-year-old daughter gives birth.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
it's a shorter story because it just happened. So
didn't I do a 12-year-old girl giving birth story last week?
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was a different thing where the father was like 25 or something.
Oh, yes.
So this is another 12-year-old girl giving birth. Wow.
Wait, hang on. Let me make sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same one. No.
Okay.
The father didn't go to jail or anything. I suppose he should. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Oh, you know what? It might have been this one. An Oklahoma woman was arrested Thursday. Well, this is brand new. I mean, it just came out after her 12-year-old daughter gave birth earlier this month. Maybe it is. The girl's daughter, Desiree Castaneda, was taken into custody on charges of child endangerment and enabling child abuse on Thursday, July 30th. So that was.
No, I don't think that's the same story.
That's sad.
The mother was not. The mother was not implicated in the story that I did.
And that's really sad that there's another one. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing. Okay. On Thursday, July 30th, Tulsa police said. Police were called to Midtown Tulsa Hospital on July 14th when a 12-year-old girl arrived in labor. Juan Miranda Jara, 24, was with her, and he said he was in a relationship with the girl and said the child was his, according to the Tulsa police. Miranda Jara said they had been in a relationship since October 2020. Yeah, so it wasn't her dad. According to KOKI-TV, doctors at the hospital called police and said they had a rape victim. The age of consent in Oklahoma is 16, KOKI reports. Tulsa police arrived at the hospital and arrested Miranda Jara on the charges of first-degree rape of a minor. Tulsa police said investigators learned Desiree Castaneda and other family members were aware of the relationship between the victim and Miranda Jara and permitted it. Tulsa police said the family threw a baby shower for the suspect and the victim.
Oh, so, great.
Celebrate. Yeah, let's celebrate it.
Yeah, your minor child is having a baby with a grown man. Oh, wow. Yeah,
fantastic.
Streamers and
Yeah, let's just do it all.
The cone pine party hats. Yeah, really.
Jesus Christ. According to KOKI, the victim gave birth and the child was healthy. Tulsa County jail records show Castaneda was held on a $50,000 bond. That was her mother. And Miranda Jara was held without bond.
Yeah, I think this might be the same story, but a different angle because they didn't mention the whole thing with the family.
Yeah, and he was just arrested.
Now you gave birth in your 30s. So
Correct.
Can you imagine how tough that would have been at the age of 12?
No. You're a child.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's kind of traumatic, right? That whole experience.
Oh, we were talking about that because I'm like, because remember we were talking about how you girls were having their periods younger and younger.
Yeah.
See, now I've done it. You're welcome, Morgan. Now I've officially done what you've done before.
Well, I mean, at the age of 12, a female is not done growing physically, like all over her body. She's still growing, and then so, to have to give birth at that point would be unbelievably painful unless they gave her drugs or something.
Yeah, horrible. But sorry if I did that again, guys. But here, it's an update for you.
Oh yeah, that's a good update. Yeah, absolutely.
See.
All right. So from that we have a bad cop, a former cop sentenced to prison time for forcing teens to strip to avoid arrest.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of women have flashed a little bit of cleavage here and there, but this takes it to a whole new level.
Yep.
When Michael Martinez pulled over teens Kyle Schulte and Remy Riley, then found alcohol and marijuana in their car, he forced them to strip and run naked to avoid being arrested. Wow, running naked. A former Florida cop is gearing up to serve a decade in prison for forcing a pair of teens to strip naked and run in order to evade arrest after a sentencing hearing that last week. Former Miccosukee police officer Michael Martinez. Miccosukee. Where is that? Is that close to you? Is it?
I just know of the it's an Indian.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Appeared in court on Thursday where he was told he will soon begin to serve a 10-year sentence. He was convicted of extortion and unlawful compensation in 2019 for forcing two 18-year-olds to strip and run naked in order to avoid arrest. They're repeating themselves here. A spokesperson for the Miccosukee Police Department told Oxygen.com via phone on Tuesday that they are not releasing any information on the case. So, let me see. One of the victims actually made his way down here today, said prosecutor Chris Killeran, because he wanted to see this to get some sort of closure, some sense of closure. And Schulte testified in 2019 that he was given a choice of go to jail or run. So I took the choice to run naked. The couple was on their way to a concert when Martinez pulled them over in 2016.
I mean, I would run naked.
Well, to get out of a charge, I mean, that's pot and alcohol. That's
absolutely
teenagers, so that's a pretty steep charge there. So Schulte apparently had run a red light and there was marijuana and alcohol in the vehicle. Instead of arresting the couple, Martinez lured them to a remote area where he instructed them to strip and run naked. And according to Riley, I took my pants off, I took my shirt off. I kind of looked at him like, is this enough? He's like, that's it? I turned around from them. I turned away. I took my underwear off. I took my bra off. Martinez allegedly tried to force Riley to engage in a sex act as well.
Okay, that's going too far.
So, he was sentenced to 10 years, but he's appealing. But that attempt failed, and so, they're going to put him away for a while. Have you ever flirted your way out of a traffic ticket or anything?
No, but I have I don't even know if I should tell this story. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I did get out of, I was young, for 4 kids. Okay, so no judgment. We'd gone to a work event. I think I wasn't drunk driving, but I'd had a glass of wine or two, and I had an expired tag or something like that. Something I had off, and I got pulled over, and my friend was in front of me, so she'd pull over with me. And I was terrified because I just didn't know what was going to happen. Like 3 cop cars pulled in behind me. So they asked to search my car and asked me to get out of the car. And I was like this young girl. I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And so let me not lie. I had there was like an open container from an old open container that was on my back seat because I'm a girl and I have like the messiest car of life. And the back seat of my car, right? But right next to it, A friend of mine and I had gone to a strip club like the week before, and there was like a dancer there, like a special dancer, and she happened to be like a porn star, so she was like was giving out her DVDs, and it was like some really raunchy perverted DVD that was sitting right next to the container that was in
it was a female porn star?
Yeah. Okay. That was, but the DVD was sitting right next to the the old open container. And the cop kind of looked in with his flashlight and he goes, nice DVD. And I'm like, dude, and I like blushed. I'm like, listen, I took my friend for his birthday to, the strip club, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be damned if they didn't let me go. I couldn't drive my car home. They made me leave my car there, but they let me get in the car with my friend and gave me a warning to get my stuff up to date. So the moral of the story is always have porn in your car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like in that movie Little Miss Sunshine, and I just assumed, well, that probably never happens in real life, but apparently it can.
Yeah, that's about it. Yep.
Have you done the Bachelorette thing with the male dancers, the Chippendale guys?
Yeah, we've gone to nothing. We go to the male. We've gone to male strip clubs. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So now I'm up, is it?
No, I think. Wait, it's me.
Yep.
All right. Okay, no one tell that story. That never happened. I'm perfectly innocent, and there you go. All right. Witnesses. This is actually, I think it's a pretty big story, and I saw it on a few websites. Witnesses distributed graphic video of boyfriend chopping off girlfriend's head at an intersection.
Wow. Okay.
This is in Minnesota.
Another one. Wow.
I'm saying Minnesota for my Minnesota friends.
So the Fargo state has finally delivered us a body count.
They're racking them up. A criminal complaint filed Friday in the alleged decapitation murder of a Minnesota woman says that the defendant confessed to the police that he had beheaded his girlfriend because she tried to break up with him while traveling with him to a court appearance in an earlier case. According to the police and prosecutors, her name's America Mafalda Thayer, 55, of Shakopee, died Wednesday afternoon when her boyfriend Alexis Sabarit, 42, also of Shakopee, cut off her head with a knife and fled. The incident occurred around 2:30 p.m. and was recorded on video by at least one witness, the police confirmed earlier this week, which already I have a problem with. But let's continue.
He destroyed America.
Good.
I know it's a cheesy pun.
That was a good one. Add sound effects.
Oh yeah. Maybe.
Prosecutors filed a single charge of second-degree murder against Sabarit on Friday in Scott County, Minnesota. The 8-page charging document says a reporting party, quote, observed a male throw a headless body out of a car at the intersection, end quote, of 4th Avenue and Spencer Street. From the complaint, and this was a quote from the complaint, officers arrived at the scene and observed a female naked from the waist up, lying with her feet toward the curb and her shoulders near an open car door. The woman had been decapitated and her head was lying approximately 1 foot away from her body. There were large amounts of blood on the ground and in the passenger side of the vehicle.
Wow.
According to the criminal complaint, the victim's vehicle was parked nearby. The document continued by relating the story of the killing as given to the police by several witnesses. The criminal complaint also notes that a witness recorded a cell phone video as part of the murder. The brutally gruesome and disgustingly graphic video had been shared widely online, much to the irritation of the police.
So it must be out there somewhere.
Yeah, this is new. I mean, I think this was just like today I found it.
Okay, I'm gonna look for that.
Of course you are.
I mean, Facebook's not gonna let me post
I haven't even yet, but so let me know. Link it to me. The complaint describes in a summary fashion, however, that it is sure to be Exhibit A in the defendant's trial.
Duh.
You think? The video was taken from inside a residence. Through a window, the suspect can be seen pulling victim's body out of the vehicle. The suspect picks up victim's head and moves it away from the body. At the end of the video, the suspect is seen reaching into the back seat of the vehicle. Can you imagine videoing this?
And I can't imagine being his lawyer, like they play the fucking video in court. What the hell?
How are you going to defend him?
He didn't mean it. Come on.
Oh wait, I think there's something that we'll get there at the end.
He didn't know his own strength.
No, wait, no, you know what's coming.
Yeah.
The video is taken from inside a residence. Oh, I already said that. Okay. According to the criminal complaint, both the victim and the defendant were known to the police. A third witness told the authorities that he was with both the victim and the defendant at a park about 15 minutes before the slaying occurred. The defendant allegedly confessed to the police after they read him his rights. According to the complaint, Saborit said Thayer tried to dump him while he was on his way to the courthouse for an earlier legal matter that is not fully described in the charging documents. And, despite his own legal history of abuse, Saborit tried to blame Thayer for abusing him.
Oh, boy.
A second-degree murder conviction in Minnesota carries a possible prison sentence of up to 40 years. And that's all we have on that for now, because it just happened.
Damn.
I'm interested in his history of legal abuse.
Legal abuse, yeah.
Legal history of abuse.
Yeah. Well, obviously it doesn't compare to that.
I mean, 2:30 in the middle of the day. 2:30 in the middle of the day. There's obviously some mental health issues there.
Well, he decided she was not going to break up with him, so he broke her. Instead.
Literally broke her. Yeah. All right, just, I can't wrap my head around somebody videoing this though from their window and not trying. I mean, I guess maybe it had already been done, so they were. I don't know. I don't want to see the video, but I do want to see the video. I don't know.
I definitely want to see the video.
You're such a freaking.
Did I tell you about the guy's name? Bud. It's a real suicide. It's on the internet if you look for it.
You did, yes.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Really, I haven't done. You know what? I meant to do it when you talked about it, and I forgot about it. Let me write that down so I don't forget it. I have to make lists, people.
Well, my next story actually it's about a Minnesota woman.
Are you kidding?
There's a fucking bloodbath. Blood spatters in the snow in Minnesota.
Wow.
Now people are getting tired of Rose Nyland's St. Olaf stories, and they're beginning to snap or what, but
I mean, she's still alive, guys. Can we hold it together, please?
If I were the mayor of St. Olaf, I would make her like Queen of St. Olaf after her birthday.
Betty White is still alive. Let's just try to keep it together, okay, guys? She's made it a long time. Please.
That's exactly. Please. All right, so my next one, the headline is Woman Accused of Plowing Through Ex-Boyfriend's Funeral, Now Charged with Vandalizing Jesus Statue. Okay. So somebody knows how to hold a grudge, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So Blair Whitten, who made bizarre social media posts before allegedly crashing her ex-boyfriend's funeral, is now accused of spray painting the face of a Jesus statue in Fargo, North Dakota. A Minnesota woman who allegedly plowed through a cemetery during her ex-boyfriend's funeral services has now been accused of a prior act of chaos. Blair Whitten, 28, made headlines in May after she allegedly tried to run people over at a Fargo, North Dakota cemetery on Saturday as they were putting Colin McDonald, 24, to rest. Multiple complainants reported Whitten was driving her vehicle inside the cemetery in a manner with extreme indifference for human life, which created substantial risk of serious bodily injury to persons in the cemetery. So I'm wondering if she was just knocking over headstones along the way. I guess she was.
Yeah, she was not. She was not happy.
Yeah, she sounds like she was pretty imbalanced. She knew she wasn't welcome, and what she did instead of leaving peacefully was try to run somebody over and run somebody else over, which was me, said Garika Charbonneau, McDonald's current girlfriend. So that wasn't random. Nobody was physically injured at the cemetery. Whitten became persona non grata at the funeral service after reportedly penning bizarre negative social media posts following his death. She even allegedly posted that she had killed McDonald, even though he died in his sleep following surgical complications. Friends and family of McDonald say they've been dealing with threats and harassment from Whitten for at least 5 years before McDonald's death. She was charged with one count of misdemeanor reckless endangerment as a result of the cemetery incident. She pleaded not guilty back in May. Now it appears that Witten is accused of another bizarre act just weeks before the cemetery incident. A marble statue of Jesus, which stood outside St. Mary's Cathedral in downtown Fargo, was spray painted black during the morning hours of April 17th, local outlet KVRR reports. Investigators allege that Witten was the culprit. She has been charged with 1 count of misdemeanor criminal mischief in connection with the statue's vandalization. She appeared in court on July 2nd and was released on the condition that she appear for future hearings, according to the Grand Forks Herald.
So she might have a problem with religion.
Yeah. And letting go.
And letting go. She like might need some religion in her life.
She blames his fucking family, Jesus, everybody's apparently.
Everybody. You know what? Take responsibility for your own actions, please. And that's not the best way to get back at people. Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, and she needs to get some therapy while she's in prison.
BetterHelp.com.
Deal with her damn issues.
Her damn issues. You're damn right. I agreed. Oh, God help me. Okay, so I actually had I don't want to say her last name because I don't know if she wanted me to share it, but Mathia, one of our listeners, sent me, this is a dustbin story. She had actually lived close to where this happened in Montana, and it was a really fucked up, really bad mom story from 2013. So it's a very long story, but I'm doing a briefer version of it because it is we're doing the damn story. And I thank you so much, Mathia, for sharing this with me and the positive feedbacks. I appreciate it. And also I love that she used cunt canoe to describe this woman, because I'm trying to get that to catch, because douche canoe and cunt canoe.
So I have an article coming up that's like 2.5 pages. How long is this one?
Oh, it's not that long. Well, it's it's about a page.
Yeah, read
page and a half.
Yeah, go for it.
Don't worry, I read fast. Everyone chill. All right, so this was in October of 2013 in Montana. Okay, and it was on a reservation, an Indian reservation. So a woman from, and you should look into this and maybe do a little deeper dive because it's pretty bad. A woman from Montana's Crow Indian Reservation was sentenced to more than 2 decades in prison for killing her daughter by throwing the 3-year-old out of a fast-moving pickup after an overnight drinking binge.
Jesus.
The judge overseeing the case called it incomprehensible. Mary Agnes Leader of St. Xavier was sentenced to 21 years and 10 months in prison without chance of parole for second-degree murder in the December 2012 death of Tennille Amaryl Bigday. That was the little girl's name. With dozens of relatives from both sides of the girl's family packed into a Billings courtroom, U.S. District Judge Donald Malloy said he wanted to keep the 25-year-old defendant from doing further harm and send a message about the dangers of alcohol abuse on the reservation. He said that in 18 years on the bench, he had never encountered such depravity in a criminal case, and the details made him nauseous. Quote, "How could a mother do this to her own child?" Malloy said. He said members of the tribe need to stand up and say enough is enough. Stop the drinking and the drugs and the violence. Authorities say Leader's daughter was in her lap as she rode in a pickup driven by her brother after a night of heavy drinking in the Hardin area. The vehicle had been going, this is going to be hard. The vehicle had been going at least 45 miles an hour when Leader uttered an expletive,
So they didn't slow down at all.
Opened her door and threw the girl into the roadway.
Now, if you're an adult being tossed out of the vehicle, that's going to injure you, but a child, 3-year-old child?
Yeah, she was 3. Leader and the 2 brothers had drank a quart of gin and up to 60 beers in the hours leading up to Tennille's death, Malloy said. The defendant later registered a blood alcohol level more than 3 times the legal limit for driving. She pled guilty in July. The young girl's relatives wailed loudly as Malloy recounted the crash and described Tennille's injuries. Quote, "Head and brain were smashed and spinal cord destroyed by the stupidity of her mother," end quote. Leader sat passively, her head bowed, through most of the sentencing hearing. When given a chance to address the court, she offered no explanation for why she killed her daughter. Quote, words can't explain anything, Leader said. Quote, nothing can bring her back, and I have to live with that. Fuck you stupid cunt canoe. Fuck you. Anyway, sorry, I added that. The victim's paternal relatives said their family would never forgive Leader and asked the court to impose a harsh sentence. Her father, Tennyson Big Day, described Tennille as a Lego-loving baby who lived to perform traditional crow dances and was raised primarily by her grandparents.
Oh, so there's a whole background of dysfunction right there.
Yeah.
Mother was never much of a mother in the first place.
Exactly. The girl's uncle, Haywood Big Day II, described how the death reverberated through the Crow Reservation, where children play a central role as the future of the tribe. He said the victim's grandparents blamed themselves for not keeping the girl away from Leader, who had previous drunken driving offenses and a long-standing problem with alcoholism. The defendant's lawyer, public defender David Merchant, asked the court to show mercy by sentencing Leader to a 15-year prison term, but prosecutor Lori Suk said the extreme conduct in the case merited a term at the high end of the sentencing guidelines, a recommendation Malloy adopted. Leader was also ordered to pay $11,123 restitution to cover Tennille's funeral costs and her father's lost wages. The uncle explained Tennille's grandparents, Haywood and Veronica Big Day, were the primary caregivers for the 3-year-old girl. Haywood recalled the day Leader picked up her daughter from the house. He said even though Tennille didn't want to see her mother, they figured it would help Leader. But instead, they now feel a sense of guilt because they believe they should not have let her go. Quote, we cry ourselves to sleep because there's nowhere else to go, end quote, Haywood Big Day III said. Tennille's father, Tennyson Big Day, also expressed the sadness and frustration the family has gone through. Malloy said the family's statements and his review of the case made it hard for him to understand how a mother could kill her own child. Leader also had a daughter who died in December of 2009, the judge noted, and he questioned if it's possible for Leader to be a good mother. The judge also said he had been shocked by the amount of violent crime and alcohol abuse on the reservation since he began his temporary role as a federal judge in Billings. He said there is a need for someone with the Crow tribe to step forward and tackle crime and substance abuse on the reservation.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Mithia, thanks for bringing that story. That was really hard, but she said, I believe she had a child around the same age when she lived close and heard that story, and it resonated with her. So thanks for the contribution. I appreciate it, even though that one was hard, but hey, let's bring some light to alcoholism and not being a fucking cunt canoe of a mother.
Well, I mean, the alcohol factor, that's a pretty lame excuse.
Yeah.
Most people don't kill their kids when they're drunk.
Absolutely not. You threw a 3-year-old out of a moving car on purpose. No.
Yeah. You might verbally abuse your kids, but you're not going to throw them out of a moving car.
Never. Not on my worst day.
All right, so my next one, I actually have another vindictive ex-girlfriend story.
Oh, are you, Morgan? Are you feeling a certain way this week?
Actually, I met someone new. We're not, I mean, it hasn't gone anywhere. We're just talking, but so I'm pretty much over.
Wait, so are you saying you're cheating on me right now? I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
Co-host for life.
Yeah. Okay, so headline is Woman Flees to Mexico after she arranges the execution of her ex's new flame. Brenda Delgado couldn't move on after a breakup. She resorted to murder. At age 35, Kendra Hatcher was doing what she loved and had met someone she thought she'd spend the rest of her life with. Tragically, a jealous woman would put an end to her promising future. A devout Christian who grew up in Pleasant Plains, Illinois, Hatcher studied dentistry in college. She helped build churches abroad, taught Bible study, and performed free dental work for children in Ecuador. What is it with these earthbound angels who keep getting murdered at young ages? What's that? And meanwhile, Charles Manson lives to be in his 80s. Is that right?
No, exactly. Yeah. What the hell is wrong with this earth?
No justice in the world. So in 2015, Hatcher was living in Dallas and accepted a job at Smile Zone, which offered high-end dentistry to children from disadvantaged households. She also began dating Dr. Ricardo Ricky Paniagua that same year. Paniagua was completing a dermatology residency at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. After dating for only 3 months, Hatcher and Paniagua began talking about marriage. They planned a trip to Cancun for Labor Day 2015. Things were going exceedingly well for Hatcher until September 2nd, 2015. That day, Hashem Saad was in the parking garage at Gables Park 17, the luxury building Hatcher lived in. You heard screaming. It was pure fear. And then I heard pop, pop, Saad snapped during airing on Sundays at 6 or 5 Central on Oxygen. Saad saw Jeep Cherokee speeding out of the garage. Once it seemed safe, he got in his car and left. As I was going out of the ramp, I could see her body, he told producers. He called 911 and reported the shooting. First responders rushed to the scene, but were unable to save the victim, who was subsequently identified as Kendra Hatcher. Bullet shards and a handgun magazine were found on the ground near Hatcher's body. Her purse was missing, but her cell phone was left behind. Though the murder had the hallmarks of a robbery gone wrong, the manner of the shooting suggested an execution. The entry wound came from the upper part of the head and exited through the chin. Former crime scene analyst Abe Santiago told producers. Gunshot residue suggested her hands were up and behind her head at the time she was shot. Security cameras at Gables Park 17 showed a black Jeep Grand Cherokee arrive at 7:15 p.m. prior to the murder. Somewhere around 7:42, the victim, Kendra Hatcher, pulls into the parking garage. Dallas Police Detective Eric Barnes told Snapped. There was no doubt that individual was waiting for Dr. Hatcher. As soon as she pulled in, he began making his move. The shooter is seen walking toward Hatcher's car, then returning to the Jeep, which leaves the premises, in footage obtained by Snapped. The driver, a woman, was caught on camera. Images of the car and driver were released to the media the following day in hopes of identifying them. 2 days later, Jose Luis Ortiz contacted investigators, saying it was his car on the security camera footage. He insisted he had nothing to do with it and claimed on the day of the murder he loaned his Jeep to a friend, Brenda Delgado. When the murder occurred, he and Delgado were having dinner together at a Chili's restaurant. He had no involvement. She threatened him with being deported. She offered to pay for his Jeep and to get painted a different color, Barnes told producers. Delgado was brought in for questioning and asked about the murder of Kendra Hatcher. I've never seen her, she responded in her videotaped interview, which was obtained by Snap. When asked about her whereabouts on the night of the murder, Delgado conveniently produced her dinner receipt from Chili's. As soon as I asked about the Jeep, her response was, I gave it to my friend Crystal. Crystal Cortez, a 23-year-old single mother, was brought in for questioning and admitted to driving the getaway car on the night of the murder. She claimed she had been with her son when she was forced to drive to the crime scene by an armed carjacker. Jesus. Cortez alleged the gunman jumped out of the car and she then heard gunshots. The shooter got back in the car and asked to be driven to another part of Dallas, then ran off. However, surveillance footage showed her son wasn't in the vehicle at the time of the shooting, nor did she try to drive away when the gunman left the car.
Suspicious.
When confronted with these inconsistencies, Cortez changed her story. Cortez now claims she willingly drove the gunman, but didn't know he was going to shoot Hatcher. She claimed it was only supposed to be a robbery. He was just going to jack her, that's it. I don't know this dude, Cortez is seen telling detectives in her videotaped interrogation. When asked why she aided in the robbery, she claimed it was Delgado's idea. When asked why Delgado would arrange the robbery of Hatcher, Cortez told detectives, I think that they were going back and forth between the same guy. Detectives learned that Delgado had dated Ricky Paniagua on and off from 2012 until the beginning of 2015. They had lived together for a time, and she had even gotten pregnant by him, though she later had an abortion. Through social media postings and by hacking Paniagua's email, Delgado cyberstalked both her ex and his new flame. Cortez claimed Delgado offered her $500 to steal Hatcher's purse. On Cortez's phone, detectives found a photo taken on the day after the murder with $500 in bills folded into the shape of a heart.
Oh, how lovely.
Romantic, yeah.
So romantic.
She admitted that Brenda paid her to be the getaway driver, so we had enough to arrest her that night for murder. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough evidence to place Brenda in custody, so the only thing I had to work with was an unpaid parking traffic ticket, and we did arrest her for the unpaid traffic ticket. Cortez said the shooter's name was Lamar and that he drove a blue Chrysler Sebring and supplied his phone number. While the name was determined to be a fake, the number produced a Dallas address which had a blue Sebring parked out front.
Aha.
Yep, the car belonged to 31-year-old Christopher Love. On September 30th, 2015, Love was arrested on an outstanding warrant from Memphis, Tennessee. Inside his car, authorities found a gun hidden in a side compartment. Ballistics tests revealed it was the weapon used to shoot Kendra Hatcher. Love told detectives that Delgado said she was connected to Mexico's infamous drug cartels. She promised to pay him back. She promised to pay him in both drugs and money. Dallas-Fort Worth CBS affiliate KVTV reported. Christopher Love was arrested and charged with capital murder. In October 2018, he was found guilty and sentenced to death.
Wow.
Brenda Delgado. Texas law, yeah.
Don't mess with Texas, man.
Brenda Delgado made bail on September 5th, 2015. Then she boarded a bus and fled the country. She was put on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, and a $100,000 reward was offered for information leading to her arrest. She was caught in April 2016 in Torreon, Coahuila. I don't know how to pronounce all these names. According to NBC News, Mexico stipulated that she wouldn't face the death penalty as part of her extradition agreement.
Huh.
Crystal Cortez pleaded guilty to murder and agreed to testify against Love and Delgado in exchange for a 35-year prison sentence.
Well, that's bullshit. That's not. Okay.
Well, I guess that's not bad for an accomplice. I mean, she didn't get her hands dirty, right?
She still wanted it to happen.
Yeah, true. Probably 2 weeks after I met Brenda, we started planning this murder. Wow,
there you go.
It didn't take long. So after deliberating for 30 minutes, a jury found Brenda Delgado guilty of capital murder on June 7th, 2019. Upon her conviction, she was automatically sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Good. Wow, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Tried to get away, but you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what's your next story?
This is a shorter one, and fairly new as well. You know, I like my new stories. Yeah. This one is out of Ohio. Man who allegedly beat his son to death with baseball bat. Now, I know, you guys, I'm so sorry. I don't purposely. I mean, I kind of do. It's my job.
Well, child abuse is baked into this podcast. So.
I mean, there's so much of it. Like I say, I can't believe how many freaking stories there are that we don't hear about.
Yeah.
Anyway, man who allegedly beat his son to death with baseball bat now faces capital punishment because of new indictment. So I guess this had happened a while back, but then he was just recently indicted for the killing. I think that there was new evidence or something that came up. A man previously charged with murdering his son, there you go, now faces capital punishment if convicted. Matthew Ponomarenko, 32, was indicted again on Friday for 2 counts of aggravated murder, this time with a possible death sentence, according to Cleveland.com. He killed Jax Ponomarenko, 5, on purpose and with prior calculation and design, prosecutors said. Authorities had said that is Matthew Ponomarenko telling the dispatch operator that he killed Jax, his son. He did not know why he did it, and he had been hearing voices in his head. Quote, "I just killed my son," said the man identified as the defendant. Quote, "What do you mean you just killed your son?" said the dispatcher. Quote, "I'm hearing voices," said the defendant. The child was on the autism spectrum and used a tablet to communicate, Uncle Jonathan Cherney told WOIO TV. Matthew Ponomarenko is now also charged with 2 counts of endangering children. He has previously pleaded not guilty in the case. It is one of the most vicious attacks committed by a human being I have ever seen. Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Marco O'Malley said in a statement Friday, according to the Cleveland. Quote, the fact that it was a father who did this to his son is incomprehensible to me. Matthew Ponomarenko previously pleaded no contest to a 2017 child endangerment case in which authorities said he left Jack's, then won, in the middle of the road, yelled at people, and confessed to cops that he was high on some substances such as meth and PCP.
Oh, wow. Could that be coincidental? Probably not.
Probably not. But so that's all there is on this, because he was just, again, because he had previous, obviously, the 2017 child endangerment case with his own son, Jax, and then beat him with a baseball bat.
Well, we've done a few meth crimes, and so that seems to lead to that kind of violent behavior.
Don't do meth, kids.
No.
Or bath salts or any other drug, except for marijuana. If you want to do that, when you're of age and it's legal and you do it legally, that's fine.
Exactly. You can't beat anybody up when you're stoned.
Dude, everyone's happy. Come on.
Yeah. Can barely get out of a chair.
Well, depending on if you have an indica or sativa, but.
Oh yeah, I do. I'm strictly indica.
I'm a sativa girl. I don't smoke. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, one thing that happened to me is the other day. It was cool. I found a bunch of weed I didn't know I had. So.
That's the best thing ever.
Yeah. I thought, I bought this white widow weed because it comes highly recommended, and I thought I smoked it all, and then I opened up this canister, and there was tons of it in there. So.
Oh my gosh, how happy were you? It's like finding money in your wallet, or in your pants pocket rather, when you're doing laundry.
Having it on the premises is always a.
Come on, Florida, we got to get to recreational usage. We have medical usage, so we're close.
Up here, a cop can't make you strip in public because you have weed on you because it's legal. So. Right.
Just gotta get your card, and Lord knows I have enough illnesses to get a prescription.
Oh yeah. Well, you got carpal tunnel. Does that cause you a lot of pain?
A lot worse lately. I swear to God, if I posted a picture, I have 2 wrist braces at this point on my arms when I'm at my computer with my lift up desk and my salon pause patches on my back and my neck. It's just ridiculous. I'm falling apart. Wow. Yeah, that's right.
Is there any kind of surgery they can do for that?
Yeah, they can. Yep. I'm not there yet, though.
Just not the kind that's covered, or?
No, I'm sure it's covered. I'll be out of commission for a while, and it's kind of my job. So when I have the time to do that, then I will. But hey, I'm a tough girl.
All right, so my next one, here's some comic relief. This one's a lot more like the child abuse and related things we covered this episode. So the headline is, man accused of shoplifting booze while wearing hollowed out watermelon as quote unquote face mask. And I saw a picture of this.
That's amazing.
I don't know how you can be inconspicuous wearing a hollowed out watermelon. Even at Halloween, most people don't hollow out melons and wear them as masks. So
it'd be really sticky and uncomfortable. Although I do love watermelon. Watermelon is probably my favorite fruit, but I eat it with salt.
I do, but I wouldn't want to wear it.
No, I don't want to wear it.
So Justin Rogers posted a TikTok video of himself grocery shopping wearing a watermelon as a, quote, corona mask. As a Virginia man was arrested Friday after he and a friend were allegedly caught shoplifting alcohol while wearing hollowed-out watermelons as homemade face masks. Justin Rogers, 20, posted a TikTok video on May 5th that appeared to show him and another man buying 2 watermelons, scooping them out, and wearing them on their heads as they go grocery shopping. The melons entirely cover the men's faces, except for 2 eye holes. Cool face mask hack, reads the caption to a version of the post on another TikTok account. The video also contains footage of the men sitting in a large black truck. Another TikTok clip posted the same day shows the melon-masked men talking with a store employee while wearing the masks. Hint, what's with the melon? The caption reads, us.
COVID.
It the corona mask. That night, surveillance footage at a Sheetz convenience store in Louisa, Virginia. Is that a chain of stores like 7-Eleven? Sheetz?
Not down here.
Maybe that's just in Virginia. Showed two men shoplifting alcohol while wearing watermelons on their heads. Let me see. The footage showed the thieves driving off in a large black truck, similar to the vehicle Rogers was seen sitting in. The police department put out a Facebook post asking for the community's help in identifying the culprits on May 15th. Rogers was arrested on May 15th. Rogers has been charged with petty theft, possession of alcohol by a minor, and wearing a mask in public. A minor.
Wait, we're supposed to be wearing masks in public. We have COVID. Come on.
But he's like 20. He's 20 years old. That's not.
How is he a minor? He's not a minor.
So I know that. So the legal drinking age is that 21?
It's 21, but at 18 you're an adult.
Yeah. So that's, I guess. So if you continue to drink alcohol before 21, you're a minor.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You are legally, technically an adult at 18, although you are not able to drink or buy cigarettes.
The second individual has not been identified, but Leary said police have pretty good information on who they are. Leary said that as far as he knows, no similar crimes have ever happened in this community. Louisa has about 1,500 residents and is an hour's drive from Richmond, according to the police department's website. It is not immediately clear if Rogers was available for comment. Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to own up to that publicly.
Nah, probably not. Just stay behind your watermelon mask, sir.
Yeah, right.
Just stick to eating it.
That's right.
My next story is, okay, so out of Maryland, a cybersecurity genius is discovered slain outside of her home, son charged after DNA found on knife. Yeah, unfortunate. Yep. Authorities in Maryland have arrested the son of a successful 58-year-old cybersecurity executive, alleging he murdered her on July 25th inside her new waterfront home in Tracy's Landing. A statement from the Anne Arundel County Police Department alleges that Juanita, and I hope I say this right, it's Coilpillai. It's Koilpillai. Coilpillai was found dead outside her home not long after being reported missing by her boyfriend. The statement says he called 911 after finding blood inside his girlfriend's house. According to the medical examiner, Coilpillai was killed by, quote, sharp force injuries. Missing from Coilpillai's driveway was her car, which was later discovered in Leesburg, Virginia. Quote, the car was secured and brought back to Anne Arundel County to be searched for items of evidentiary value, reads the statement. Hi, Rachel's going to stop talking words now. Preliminarily, the evidence indicates this was a targeted incident and not a random act of violence. Inside the car, investigators found several key pieces of evidence, including the suspected murder weapon, a knife. Forensic testing on the knife detected the DNA of two different individuals, Coilpillai and her son, Andrew Whalen Beavers. The statement alleges that additional evidence led them to identify Beavers, 23, as the killer. Beavers has been charged with first and second degree murder. He was taken into custody in Virginia Saturday and is awaiting extradition to Maryland. He has not entered pleas to the charges and does not have a lawyer of record. The Capital Gazette spoke to friends of the cybersecurity specialist who grew up in Sri Lanka and India before earning a master's in computer science and mathematics at the University of Kansas. Coilpillai had worked in computer security and network management for 3 decades with her ex-husband founded Cyberwolf, an advanced automated attack warning system used by the government. They later sold the company to cybersecurity software company Symantec, the Gazette reports. Quote, to grow a startup into a great company and then sell it to a bigger technology company was an incredible accomplishment, said her best friend Connie Moore. Quote, but to do it as a woman, to do it as a person of color, just speaks volumes about her tenacity, about her brilliance, about her business acumen, and her technology expertise. It was extraordinary, end quote. Moore added.
Well, then seems like when it comes to these super successful people that the apples usually fall pretty far from the tree.
Yeah, maybe not enough. I don't, jealousy or just not enough time. I don't know.
Spoiled, yeah.
Spoiled, yeah. And then she did it again. So she built 2 successful businesses and sold them. Coilplay went on to found Waverly Labs, a leading provider of digital risk management software and services, and served as its CEO. In June, she helped launch Resilient, which uses software-defined perimeters to secure information online. I'll say, this is a quote, I'll say she was a certifiable genius, said Dr. Ron Martin, a close friend and professor of Capital Technology University.
Wow. Yeah, it's like this story I heard about this man who produced a show called The Rockford Files. Did you ever watch that?
I know of it.
Well, his son just didn't accomplish fuck all. He just grew up wealthy, and his father would buy him one sports car after another, and he'd crash each one into a telephone pole. And he was, despite being set for life, being provided for life, he was just miserable because his life had no direction.
I wonder if that's what this kid. Yeah, I wonder if that's what this kid had.
Well, I mean, if you grew up with money, it's not exciting to you, right? That's just all you know. So I mean, if you don't have any ambition and you're just going to sit around doing drugs all the time or whatever, and that can totally ruin it. I mean, maybe they shouldn't have set him up with a trust fund or whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm interested to know how his child life was like. This is a new story. It was like I said, it was on several sites. So she was like a pretty well known person in the cybersecurity area. So super sad, super unfortunate.
All right, my last story is about another ex getting revenge. Only this time it's a man. Man pleads guilty to harassing ex-wife, mailing her a dead rat and a black rose. So Romney Ellis, 55, threatened his estranged wife in a series of troubling letters, which prosecutors called a systematic campaign of harassment. An Indianapolis man has pleaded guilty to sending his ex-wife a dead rat and now could face half a decade behind bars in a federal prison, prosecutors announced Friday. Romney Ellis, who also threatened to set his wife on fire. Yeah, right. Also threatened to set his wife on fire and sent her sexually graphic images of himself. So he sent dick pics to his ex-wife.
Can you imagine? Oh my God. Pause. Yeah. That might be the worst thing you could possibly do to your ex, because
it's bad enough for you to get them right now while you're single, but to get them from the guy that you would never want again.
That's worse. That's worse. That's the worst thing you could possibly think of. Holy shit.
Like, imagine all of your ex-boyfriends were to email you at once with those pictures, That's a whole
new level of just absolutely no. Absolutely not. I'm out. Okay, go ahead. That's pretty funny.
Dude, she plainly has had her fill of it.
She doesn't want any of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
He pleaded guilty in federal court last week, so that was a felony, apparently, according to the U.S. Attorney's whoever.
As it should be.
He pleaded guilty to charges of making threats and mailing a dead animal using the U.S. mail system. So that's illegal, folks. If you're American, don't mail any dead animals. I don't know if taxidermy counts, but don't.
I wouldn't think so. Yeah. That's a profession.
Federal prosecutors described Ellis's prolonged correspondence with his estranged wife, who lives in Florida, as a campaign of harassment, which spanned nearly half a decade. So in one instance, the woman opened a package to find the body of a dead rat and a black rose, both symbols of death, obviously. He threatened to decapitate and set the victim on fire, and he routinely made racially and sexually charged statements in the text messages. including sending sexually explicit images of himself. So I'm wondering if this is like full nudity or just dick pics.
He's a psychopath.
If he's 55 and sending nude pictures of himself.
Nobody wants to see that, dude.
Ellis also sent his former spouse text messages stating he had traveled from Indiana to Florida to see her. He also was accused of using the mail to harass his ex-wife's friends and family.
Jesus.
The 55-year-old was arrested in February after authorities raided his home while executing a search warrant. Handwritten notes containing the names and addresses of his ex-wife, her friends, and family were seized from the property.
Ugh.
The U.S. Postal Inspection Service investigated the case. He faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in federal prison. His sentencing is scheduled for July 30, 2020. So yeah, there you go. Don't mess with U.S. mail.
Yes, U.S. Postal Service.
You thought opening someone's mail was a felony offense.
It is. I mean, it is.
Send a dead rodent, and you're really asking for trouble.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Nope.
My last story is okay. So this is, I told you, near and dear to me because I live in Florida. So leaving children in hot cars or animals in hot cars. I told you that story, I believe, last week that dog is a severe issue. The feels like temperature today where I live is 106. Okay.
Well, it's interesting because most true crime fans, they're kind of desensitized to like serial killer stories, but you still inject an animal cruelty story. That's when they really get outraged.
This is an animal cruelty story, so I'm just forewarning you. This is just, you don't do that in Florida. It's so flipping hot here right now. It's unbearable. If you get in your car for, 30 seconds, if I'm in my car without turning it on, you're sweating, you can't breathe. It's ridiculous. So anyway.
You put those things in your windshield to cast a shadow inside?
I actually have the darkest tint possible on my car. That helps a little bit. But I will turn the car on and let the air conditioning run before my kids even get in for a little bit. Because it's too much. All right, so 2 arrested in Florida after 17 pets found in distress, some near death in hot U-Haul.
Fuck.
You got to see these people too. I have to pull up the picture and send it to you. A man and woman were arrested in Florida after 4 cats and 13 dogs were found extremely dehydrated, some of them minutes from death, in the back of a U-Haul, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office said Thursday. Jason Donnellan Sparks, 29, and Shauna Dowd, 23, had driven to Florida from Tennessee with the animals in the unventilated truck, deputies said. A bystander who saw the U-Haul pull into a Harbor Freight in Palm Coast on Wednesday told a deputy, quote, "I heard the dogs yelling and screaming. There was panic." Authorities say none of the animals had water in their cages and only the cats had food. Quote, "The puppies were this is so sad. Quote, "The puppies were panting and severely dehydrated," according to the sheriff's office news release. Quote, "The dogs were obviously in distress with matted fur. The animals were covered in feces and were in the back of a U-Haul without proper airflow." A chaotic scene ensued in the parking lot as the first responding deputy frantically pulled wailing puppies from one of the cages in the stifling truck. Quote, "They're dying. Do you understand this?" the deputies told Donald Sparks as she rushed the tiny dogs to the air conditioning of her patrol vehicle and got them water. The witness and the suspects eventually helped the deputy pull all the animals out of the truck and place them in cages on the pavement under the shade of trees to pour water on them and give them water to drink. Palm Coast Animal Control said if the pets had remained inside the U-Haul any longer, they would have died. They took the dogs and cats into custody and brought them to a veterinarian to get checked. Donnellan, Sparks, and Dowd are both charged with animal cruelty and booked into the Sheriff Perry Hall inmate detention facility with $5,000 bonds. Quote, "Here's a great example of see something, say something."
Yeah.
And these animals only had minutes to spare, Sheriff Rick Staley said. The Florida heat is dangerous, and animals do not belong in vehicles without proper airflow. As a result, can be deadly. Thank you to all the agencies who came together to rescue the 17 animals from the U-Haul.
Well, here's the good part for them.
See something, say something is the most important effing thing I can get across.
Here's a suitable punishment for them.
They have to sit in the car.
Dress them up in like really thick clothing, a parka, a snowsuit with a parka over it, layers of shirts and pants and mittens, and then put them in a room, crank it up to the heat.
Just make them sit in a hot car in Florida. Period.
Or make them turn up the heat to the level they have for hot yoga in those clothes.
Oh, I do hot yoga.
Yeah, but you get to wear like what? Like shorts.
Oh, you wear barely anything.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, make them do that and suffer inside that kind of heat for like 10 hours at a time or something.
Well, they would die.
Sweat out all bodily fluids,
They would die. Your body can't handle that kind of heat. It's not withstandable. And I mean, I remember there's so many stories in Florida during these times of, oh God, there was one a couple of years back where a guy forgot his kid in the back of his car and like went to work and then went out and found his toddler dead in the backseat of his car.
God, what a moron.
Just, I mean, it's one of the most unbearable things that stories that I can handle. I cannot deal with dogs or animals or children being left in hot cars. I can't imagine a more inhumane, horrible death, except for being set on fire.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like putting them inside an oven, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it essentially is. Yep.
So if you were to so right now, this would be the apex of the summer heat in Florida right now?
Getting close. Yep.
So if I were to crack an egg on your car, like in the middle of the afternoon, do you think it might cook? Like it might?
Yes. I remember I told you I was going to do that. Remind me to do that this week so I can. I'm going to post it. Yeah, I'm going to video it for you guys. Remind me to do that.
It would probably be a time lapse thing. I'm sure it doesn't happen like right away, but or does it?
It'll probably happen pretty damn quick.
Oh yeah. So within what, 10 minutes?
Not even. It's hot as shit. If I walk out onto my pavement, so the cement is hot, but then the black pavement, I mean, and I have some redneck ass feet. They're pretty tore up. They're, got calluses on them and stuff because I'm barefoot all the time. So it can withstand a bunch, but you do not step on black pavement in the summer because, honey, you're going to get burnt. You're going to get burnt.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And like, I also enjoy going around barefoot, but I learned my lesson about that when I was a kid. For sure. Well, people remember to spray your car with Pam first.
Oh, I will. I'll figure it. Don't worry. It's coming. I got you. Remind me to do it this week. I'm going to do it. I can't wait.
Or a little piece of butter and watch that melt first.
That's exactly what it's so funny because I have a little pan. It's a perfect little egg. It's my little egg pan. My son cooks eggs for me in the morning sometimes when he's being really sweet. I'm like, buddy, you got to put a little butter in it. And you got to cook eggs a certain way, low and slow. And then add a little cheese, a little salt, pepper.
That's a good thing. Yeah. That's a good thing. You're an old school mom. You're teaching them how to do things for themselves and to work hard, develop skills. That's really good.
Yeah, he likes it. He likes cooking.
Teaching and cooking, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
And fishing.
Well, like a lot of parents are complaining, oh, it's so much work to cook and do all the dishes. And, well, why don't you delegate that to the kids?
Absolutely.
Make them earn their allowance. I mean, you shouldn't have to do everything.
And that's the problem is that I think kids these days, and we talked about the millennials last week, just my parents didn't do a fucking dish since we were like 5. Are you kidding me? We didn't have a dishwasher. We were the dishwashers. I was the oldest of 4. We did dishes. Like they didn't do anything,
And if you wanted a raise in your allowance, you had to take on a new chore.
Yeah, we didn't even get allowance, dude. We got room and board, food.
Okay. Well, that's just entry level parenting.
Exactly.
Everything else is just gravy.
Trying to raise them right, man.
Yep.
Well, good stories this week.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
thanks, Morgan.
I think we blew our wad for this week.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. No.
You're are funny, man. All right. Yeah, we blew it.
Well, I also have to go to the bathroom really bad. Yeah. I won't regale anybody with any graphic details.
Oh my God. I really need, I need this on Mondays because I was my first day back to work and it was shit. And now this makes my day. So thank you guys. Yeah. Thank you. And next week we'll be back.
That's right. And so bye for now from Morgan Rector.
And Rachel Telfor. And keep those, anybody that wants to send suggestions for stories, feel free to do so. Appreciate it.
That's right. All right. Take care, everybody.
See you next week.